Wheatland and Paseo del Mar, and many of the San Pedro residents have noticed most of their streets are getting slurried. And I wanted to bring the Director of Street Services, Nazario Sauceda, to San Pedro to explain to us the difference between slurring a street versus repaving a street. Welcome to San Pedro. We've got some concerns about what we're doing here in San Pedro, and actually even in Watts. People think that we're resurfacing the street. I just want to set the record straight with you, and that's why we brought you down to let my constituents know the difference between resurfacing and street slurring of the streets.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Councilman. Yes, there's two big differences between resurfacing a street and slurry sealing the street. Slurry sealing is a very cost-effective technique to maintain the existing condition of the streets. Basically, slurry sealing seals cracks and gaps that allow the water to infiltrate, and once the water infiltrates to the basement or to the base or the substructure, the water weakens the street, and that's when you see the street flexing, and that's when you see the cracks and the potholes. Slurry sealing, once again, it's only an application of 1/8 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch on top of the existing surface. Once again, the difference is only between resurfacing and maintenance is that slurry is maintenance. Resurfacing is rehabilitation, meaning removing certain layers of the existing street and replacing those layers that fail with new asphalt.
Right, and most importantly, with infrastructure, it's street infrastructure, it's critical that we maintain the street. Otherwise, if we don't maintain it, then it's going to cost the city more money. So what's the cost of per square footage of slurring a street?
Just so you get a good idea, and I'm going to be a little big. I'm going to go a little bigger than a square foot. Per mile. Okay. Approximately, it'll cost $25,000 to $30,000 if you do slurry. When you do resurfacing, it'll cost $350,000 per mile. And when the streets fail completely, the price per mile can go as high as $600,000 per mile. So the purpose of doing slurry, the reason why we do slurry is to preserve streets that are in fair condition, good condition, preserve them in that condition. That's why people sometimes, residents will understandably call and say, why are you working on that street that is in good condition?
Right.
Because we want to keep it in good condition. That is the reason.
Now, when we slurry the street, how much longer will it preserve the street for?
It will preserve the existing street 5 to 7 years. The way we need to think about slurry is like the engine in your vehicle. I mean, you can run your vehicle without an oil change. But chances are that your vehicle is going to fail if you don't change the oil consistently. Right. Same thing with the streets.
Great analogy.
The streets, if you don't maintain the streets, they will fail before the life expectancy comes to an end. We are expecting residential streets to last approximately 25 years.
And here we are in the current fiscal year, which expires in a couple weeks, as we know. We've done some streets in Watts, and we're currently doing streets in San Pedro. My main focus as we move into the next fiscal year is to take care of our residents in both Harbor City and Wilmington. We have plans to do that?
Yes, we're working with your staff every day, and we're trying to determine the grids in the areas of Harbor City and Wilmington.
Good.
Where we will be performing more pavement preservation techniques. Slurry sealing is an emulsion in a combination of oil and sand. That is the reason why it is so thin. There is no gravel, there's no aggregate in the mix. It's only sand and oil. In our case, which makes us very, very unique in the nation, we use what is called rubberized slurry. Believe it or not, there's rubber mixed in this slurry seal. We reuse the waste tires that we collect in alleys, in the streets, and we recycle them.
Great.
For every 100 miles of slurry that we apply, we recycle approximately 26,000 waste tires.
Wow.
This year, our slurry program, covers 400 miles. Therefore, this year we are recycling approximately 100,000 waste tires.
My name is Joe Marino, and I'm very happy to see them doing the slurry here, because slurry is going to go ahead and protect that surface. Otherwise, if the surface goes, then you've got to resurface the whole street, which means you've got to dig up all the asphalt, dig it down to the dirt basis, and then, of course, put on a new surface, which is very costly. So the slurry, of course, avoids any high cost that might be needed to go ahead and keep the streets intact.